Anderson is on her way. Councilor King?
Here.
Councilor Kuiper?
Here.
Councilor Harris?
Here.
Councilor Cook?
Here.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Motion carries. Consent, we have approval of April 28th, 2015 City Council meeting minutes. Approval of May 5th, 2015 City Council meeting minutes. Resolution 2015-048, authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract for the Columbia Street Regional Stormwater Facility Phase 2 project. Do I have a motion to approve consent?
I move to approve consent agenda with some minor typographical errors I caught and I have already given to Sylvia.
In the minutes.
In the minutes? Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Presentation, recognition of If I Were Mayor, I Would local contest winner. Am I doing the presentation?
Yes.
Wow, super. So I didn't know if staff was going to take this lead, but I am more than happy to do it. Will Savannah Cedillo come forward? I saw her in the audience. Go ahead and take a seat and push that button right in front of you till it turns green. Give her a little, just push hard. There you go.
There you go.
You're on. So Savannah was our big winner. We had several fantastic applications and submissions for the If I Were Mayor contest, and Savannah was our great winner. Congratulations, Savannah.
Thank
She
you.
did a fabulous job, a wonderful poster, which I would normally show you, but it has gone on down to the state of Oregon to be entered in the competition. So Savannah, you want to tell us a little bit about your entry?
Well, my teacher actually told us about it, and I kind of just wanted to see because I kind of want to be mayor when I grow up, actually. So, I actually put I would clean up the YMCA because I really don't like littering. I hate how it looks. And I said I'd save more animals because I love animals. And I drew a picture of somebody saving a cat from a tree because that's all I could come up with. I put that I would listen to the people of Sherwood, just like you in the city council meetings. I put a lot of other things, but I can't really remember them because it was a long time ago. But I kind of just tried my best to draw what I thought.
Fantastic. Well, I thought your entry was awesome. She also incorporated some of the things that I had been talking about as a mayor, which I thought she showed that she had been paying close attention to the things that were going on in our city and showed great leadership. So Ms. Bodingheimer is the class that she is in, that is at the Sherwood Charter School. Each one of the classmates did an entry, so we had quite a stack of entries to go through. They were all fabulous, and Savannah's rose to the top. So I thank you very much for your entry, and I'd like to give you a certificate and also a swag bag, City Sherwood, so you can proudly walk around advertising this great city that you'd like to be mayor of. Congratulations. And next we have Eagle Scout recognitions. We have several to recognize tonight. We're going to start with Parker Christensen. Parker, could you come forward? Welcome. Thank you for coming and congratulations on your Eagle Scout. Could you tell us a little bit about your project?
So I was able to build a garden shed for Middleton Elementary, and it was all constructed from scratch. I designed all of the plans and everything on my own with some help from actual professionals And I was really kind of blessed to be able to do that for Middleton because I went to Middleton and I just always loved the school, and so it was really kind of great to give back.
Fantastic. Does anyone have any questions?
You said professionals. What kind of professionals?
Well, okay, so I asked some help from a guy who's helping to build our house. I kind of asked some code, like the distance between studs, angle for roofing, you know, kind of some
Build
help from
technical
that.
stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. Great.
So how big is your shed? How big was it?
So it's 8 feet tall by 6 feet wide by 3 feet deep, or 4 feet deep.
Okay, very good.
Well, I'm working at Middleton, and I can tell you that shed is used a lot. So we've been in there a lot. They've planted their gardens, and they use it often. So, well done.
Thank you.
How many people ended up helping you on that project?
I had quite a lot of help. Actually, I can't remember the exact number, but a lot of people from my church, a lot of people from my troop, and then a good number from my family came. So.
Very nice, thank you.
Well, Parker, thank you very much for your service, and I would like to give you this certificate. So we had 3 more, and I don't believe that they are here, but I will read their names. Tucker Lindgren, two more, and Kevin Ramos. So we will mail these out to them. Congratulations to them as well. Go ahead and give those to Sylvia. All right, we are on to the recognition of the 2015 Robin Hood Festival Maid Marian Court members. Will you come forward?
I would like to read their biography.
Fantastic.
And I would like to
Christine Mulkey, thank you for joining us.
Mayor Parks, Sherwood City Council members, those in the audience tonight, and Sherwood citizens watching at home. I'm Christine Mulkey, chaperone for the Sherwood Robin Hood Festival's Maid Marian Court, and I am pleased to come before you tonight to present to you the Robin Hood Festival 2015 Maid Marian Court. The fine young women of this court are very proud to have become this year's ambassadors of the city of Sherwood and of our community's festival. I would normally begin by introducing our Maid Marian, but unfortunately she's taken ill and is not able to be in attendance tonight, but I would still like to read her biography for you. Madeline LaCour is a 9th grader at Sherwood High School and is this year's Maid Marian. At school, she is an active member of their marching band and bowman bands. Madeline has cared for her own assortment of animals, which includes 115 gallons worth of fish tanks, 2 cats, a Russian tortoise, and a hamster. On Friday afternoons, she can be found volunteering at Sherwood's cat shelter. She also volunteers with Girl Scouts, holding leadership positions at summer camps for younger girls. In her spare time, she loves ice skating and photography. She plans to pursue a profession in veterinary science or zoology. She is looking forward to her 2nd year on the senior Maid Marian Court. And now I'll start with our senior court. Miranda Boljat is a junior at Veritas School in Newburgh, where she sings in the concert choir and regularly performs in school theater productions.
Yes. Yes, sorry. I'm going to stop you. We're going to come up
Okay.
and so that we can shake their hands.
That's great.
This is super exciting. So. And we want everyone to also be able to see them on camera.
Absolutely.
As you speak about them.
Okay.
Miranda, sorry.
That's okay. I'll just continue here. At Veritas, Miranda volunteers her time co-leading creative writing groups for 5th graders, as well as serving as a representative on the student council. She was in the Maid Marian Junior Court in 2007 and is looking forward to being on the senior court this year. Miranda loves drawing, reading, writing, and spending time with her family and her pets, as well as tutoring students and managing her pet care business. After high school, Miranda plans to attend college to study chemistry, education, and theater. Miranda Bolshat. Elizabeth Hartman is a sophomore at Sherwood High School. She spends most of her time immersed in music as part of the school concert choir, member of the VPA show choir, Grace Notes, and is part of the cast in many musicals, including Mary Poppins and Thoroughly Modern Millie. She loves leading her church worship band and spends much of her free time at home singing and playing guitar. Elizabeth also loves volunteering to serve with the young kids, whether it's face painting, teaching choir, or playing in the nursery. Her passion is to be a shining light and share joy with all she meets, and I can attest that is true. Elizabeth Hartman. Jessica Mulkey is a 9th grader at Sherwood High School, where she is involved in jazz band, Bowman band, tennis, and recently made it onto the Sherwood Arrows dance team. She loves ballet, snow skiing, water skiing, ice skating, and playing with her husky Winter. She also loves playing piano and has been teaching piano lessons for over a year. She volunteers her time at church, leading worship and playing piano regularly. This is Jessica's 3rd year on Maid Marian Court. She loves it so much she would like to be involved for as long as possible. Jessica Mulkey. Hallie Tasker was born 3 months premature and weighed only 2.5 pounds. She is now an 8th grader at Sherwood Middle School, where she plays the clarinet in the advanced band. Outside of school, Hallie loves soccer, writing, living on a farm, animals, her friends, and family, and anything to do with The Hobbit, Robin Hood, and Star Wars. Hallie loves to write Robin Hood fan fiction. She also enjoys acting and has been involved in Missoula's Children's Theater. She is looking forward to starting high school in the fall and continuing in band and soccer. Hallie hopes to become a teacher. Hallie Tasker. Now it's time for our adorable junior court. Sophie Fletcher is a 1st grader at Edie Ridge, where she enjoys participating in and supporting school activities such as Drama Club, the Talent Show, Mileage, and Liam's Club. Outside of school, she loves to sing, play soccer, ride bikes, and play with her friends and her older brother, Maddox. 2 of her favorite things are cats and the color pink. Sophie is very excited to be on the Maid Marian Court this year. She is outgoing, friendly, and creative and loves to help others. She takes voice lessons in hopes to one day perform in a musical. Sophie Fletcher. Chloe Hardy is a 4th grader at Edie Ridge, where she enjoys singing with the choir and helping in the cafeteria. Outside of school, she loves to play the violin, ice skating, sewing, tennis, and playing with her pets. She also loves writing stories and hopes to one day become an author. Chloe is so excited to be a part of the Maid Marian Court because she loves the story of Robin Hood and she loves archery. She is thrilled to be a part of the Robin Hood Festival and to serve the city of Sherwood. Chloe Hardy. Delia Henderson is a 3rd grader at Edie Ridge, where her favorite subjects are math and writing. She is also involved with Liam's $6 Club. Adelia enjoys being on the Omega gymnastics team, where she placed 12th overall in the state championships. Her other hobbies include drawing and playing with friends. When she grows up, Adelia hopes to be an actress, singer, and a famous gymnast. Adelia Henderson. Kylie Stone is a 3rd grader at Middleton, where her favorite subjects are math and music. Kylie is very excited to be included in the Maid Marian Court this year. Growing up in Sherwood, the festival in July has become an annual highlight to her summer. Outside of school, Kylie enjoys swimming, basketball, and dance, and playing with her friends and family. One of her favorite pastimes is art. She loves to draw. Kylie is grateful for the opportunity to represent Sherwood and to be involved with the court this year. Kylie Stone. This is our 2015 Maid Marian Court. Yay! Yeah? Oh, okay. Sure.
Have you handed
Thank you.
and give them to our
Yes.
who couldn't make it today.
Yes.
Thank you so much, girls. I had the opportunity to go to the girls' coronation, and it was beautiful. They are a wonderful representation of a wonderful Sherwood, and I am so proud that you're doing this for our city and representing us.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to be hard to follow. But I'm going to let you. So our next presentation is TriMet presentation on Southwest Service Enhancement Plan. Tom Mills.
And as Tom is coming up, I'm just going to do a quick intro. As I think all the council knows and remembers, we've been working for years now on the Southwest Corridor project. And one of the elements of that a couple years ago was the I can't remember the name of it, the strategy that the different elements that were going to go into the Southwest Corridor project. And one of them was the Southwest Service Enhancement Plan by TriMet. And TriMet has been working on this for quite a while now and is here to give you an update.
Thank you, and thank you for having me this evening. Again, my name is Tom Mills. I'm a planner with TriMet, and many of you have seen me before. I know there are some new faces on the council. So forgive me for those who've heard my presentation in the past if I go over some information that you've heard in the past. I'm here today to talk about TriMet's Southwest Service Enhancement Plan. This is a long-range plan for improving service within the region. We actually have 5 sub-areas where we're conducting these types of plans. The first was in the Beaverton-Hillsboro area. That plan has been completed, and we have actually started to make some changes, improvements to the bus system. And the second kind of in the line is the Southwest. And that includes Sherwood, Tualatin, Tigard, Westland, Lake Oswego, King City, Durham, and Southwest Portland. We are actually coming close to the end of that process, at which point we'll be able to start making changes, improvements to your transit system. Before I get into kind of some of the details of what we're recommending, let me just go over one more time what some of the process has been. The process begins with kind of an information collection phase. And that's really what I like to call a 3-legged stool. On one hand, there's the data collection, and where we're looking at where people live, where they work, and we're really fortunate in some of the tools we have today. We have always known where the jobs are, and we've always known where the housing is, but we didn't know of the people who live in this housing, where do they work, and of the people who work in these jobs, where do they live. We're now able to make those connections and see where people are trying to get to, which tells us, whether our bus system is actually serving, where people want to go. So that was really illuminating for us. But also, we conducted a lot of outreach throughout all of the Southwest. In fact, here in Sherwood, I want to point out we conducted a community meeting in this very room, actually, where we kind of come one, come all, and we rolled out maps and gave people markers and asked people to tell us where they'd like to see service and at what level they would like to see it. We also conducted outreach to the HOAs, particularly the Arbor Terrace HOA and the Woodhaven HOA. So we met with them. We met with the YMCA multiple times, the Chamber of Commerce, and I myself and a colleague spent an entire day at the Robin Hood Festival talking to anyone and everyone who would walk by, actually really pulling people over to us to talk to them and get their input on improvements to the bus system. And then the third leg of the data collection was talking to Julia and her staff and really trying to understand what is changing in Sherwood, where should we be planning for the future, what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I'm happy to say that really all this information really everyone kind of corroborated each other. So what we were seeing in the data was what we were hearing from people and what we were hearing from Julia and Julia's staff. So it was really helpful to kind of see that most folks were kind of on the same page. So that was very helpful. And so then what we did then, once we collected that information, is we developed what we call a draft vision. And for those of you who were here last fall, I came to you and presented that to you. And it looked a lot like this. It was a flyer like this, or a brochure, I should say. And it had several ideas for improved service in Sherwood. And then we put that draft vision out to the public and got feedback. And we had it online, we had it in multiple languages, we had staff folks riding on buses and at transit centers, talking to people and getting their input. We even had a few kind of small group meetings with people who don't typically come to a public meeting, people who don't speak English as their first language, et cetera. And so based on that, we then revised it, and that's what you have here in your hand. And again, we've gone out to the public and we've received input on this revised version. What I wanted to talk to you about specifically today were the two major recommendations for Sherwood. And with that, I have some exciting news. The first recommendation I want to mention is a recommendation for a new bus line between Sherwood and Tualatin via Tualatin-Sherwood Road. This would connect your folks who work along Tualatin-Sherwood Road to their jobs. It would also connect your community to Tualatin, to the west train, as well as to the buses in that area. And for those who are going downtown, of course, you have the 94, but should you be in, it may be, I don't know, maybe it's faster. I haven't looked at the timing, actually. Maybe it's faster to go to the 96 and take the 96, which goes up I-5. But in any case, it creates new connections for you, and it allows people coming to Sherwood to take transit here, particularly the Walmart. We've heard a lot of folks from outside of Sherwood want to get to the Walmart and the services you have in the Sherwood Town Center. The exciting thing about that recommendation is we recently passed our budget, and that is included in our budget for FY16. It will begin in June of FY16, so that is a year from now. However, it's probably okay for that because we need to work with Tualatin, Sherwood, and the county on bus stops, particularly along Tualatin-Sherwood Road, to make sure that we're not blocking traffic and to make sure that we're siting these bus stops as safely as possible because that can be a high-speed road. So we're going to be spending the next year working on that, and I hope to come back with something more refined. I will say that it is really just a first investment for service on Tualatin-Sherwood Road. Right now, what we have budgeted is service for weekdays only and only during the commute hours. And it would only go between the Sherwood Town Center area up by our Langer Road layover and to the West Station. Now, ultimately, the recommendation calls for that bus line to go all the way up to Bridgeport Village, continuing up 72nd Avenue through the Jobs Corridor there and into the Tigard Triangle and ending at the Tigard Transit Center. So I just want to stress that this is really our first down payment in that service and that we do intend to extend it. Certainly the business owners along 72nd Avenue really want to see that very soon. So that's something I hope to be able to do in the near future. So anyway, that was the exciting news. But other exciting news, I hope you'll feel, is we had recommended, and it's still actually in this version, an extension of bus service through downtown and then west along Sunset Boulevard. Now, after making that recommendation, we heard from a lot of folks in the community, and I actually met specifically with the Woodhaven HOA as well as the Arbor Terrace HOA. They expressed concerns about 40-foot buses on Sherwood Road and the amount of traffic there. They also expressed concerns about a crossing guard situation for children on school days at the Woodhaven and Sunset intersection. And honestly, operationally, in TriMet, the more I looked at it, the more concerned I was with the turn, a 40-foot bus turning from Woodhaven, making a left turn onto Sunset Boulevard, and whether it was really going to be feasible or not. So we are proposing an alternative for that service, which actually may be better for the entire city of Sherwood. And that alternative would be something we call community/jobs connector service. And it's not shown in the map yet, but what I would point to are these kind of beige shaded areas. These are areas where either maybe there's not enough people living in that area, or like in Sherwood's case, maybe the street network is not really suitable for a 40-foot bus, where we're recognizing there's a demand for transit service, but maybe your typical TriMet service isn't the best fit for that. And so the solution in these areas are to develop shuttle services, so smaller vehicles that operate as shuttles that can operate in those areas more flexibly, or with more flexibility to pick people up. Now, they're kind of shown on the map as blobs because we want to work with those communities to really determine what that route is going to be. And typically, we work with a third-party provider, such as Ride Connection, to help us do that because they can help us. We can do it at a lower cost if we're working with another provider, particularly in Ride Connection's case, which is a nonprofit provider. Ride Connection currently operates the Tualatin shuttle in their industrial area, as well as the GroveLink shuttle in Forest Grove. The GroveLink shuttle today would probably be a better example for Sherwood because that's a shuttle that operates through the entire community. It connects with jobs. It also connects with residential communities. And I'm excited to say that that shuttle is carrying over 150 rides per weekday. And so that is the kind of vision I think we now have for Sherwood, should you also agree, and what I would like to propose as a change to this plan. And so with that, those are really the two major improvements that we're recommending for Sherwood. The one thing I would like to point out with this community jobs connector for Sherwood, whereas before we were saying a bus line through Main Street and then west on Sunset to the YMCA, it really was not serving the east side of Sherwood. With a community jobs connector, we can really develop something that can serve all of Sherwood and potentially at close to the same cost as it would have been for us to extend the service because we would be using a third party.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming today. I know that I've bent your ear more than once, that we have been advocating since I became mayor that we need better service in Sherwood. And I highly appreciate that TriMet has listened. You've listened to our residents as well as the electeds that have chimed in. I think that the community job connector is a fantastic idea. I think it's wonderful. I think that it fits our citizenry much better. I have been concerned for a long time about our senior population having the ability to get to shopping and to the YMCA when they no longer drive. And I think that this is a great alternative, and I appreciate you looking at alternative ways to service our smaller community that helps us get where we need to go. And a big piece of that, I know that you've heard it over and over and over again, is get us to Tualatin West. And so thank you for hearing that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And not just to downtown, because that's not necessarily where we want to go. So I very much thank you. I've been to many of these meetings. You've done an excellent outreach to really listen, and that's a big piece of it, is really opening up the net and saying, hey, what do you guys want? Particularly when you had one plan, and then you found that, yeah, that really didn't work. And you were totally open to saying, let's come up with a better plan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that flexibility in servicing us.
Thank you.
That speaks volumes to me.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I just had one comment. I was there about a year and a half ago when there was that visioning where all the maps were laid out, and we said, yes, we need that connector. from Sherwood to West. So that's great. It's been a long time coming, and it's really nice to see that connection's happening. Well, I do have a question. The community jobs commuter service, that wouldn't be an on-call. That's just it goes on a rotation. How does that work?
Great question. And it also, my answer will also kind of touch on seniors, as Mayor Clark mentioned. So it does run as kind of a circulator every, depending on how large the loop is and how many vehicles we can get on it. It could be every half hour, it could be every 20 minutes, maybe during certain parts of the day, and it would be more frequent than other parts of the day. In regards to seniors, one of the nice things about these shuttles is that we can work it out so that they deviate off route to pick up, say, a senior or somebody in a mobility device
Okay.
should they have a need for that. Now, it probably can't deviate for everybody, but we can probably develop some deviations, kind of standard deviations that are already kind of loaded into the route. The time was put into this, it will be put into the schedule to allow them to be able to make that. And those deviations are something where someone would call in and ask for a deviation.
Or maybe having a stop in a certain housing where we know there's a lot of seniors, or a collection where it would be made into a stop.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I have one other question. As far as the I guess it would be considered high capacity. It's not really high capacity transit, is it? Because that would be the
In
light rail.
reference to.
Well, the bus is moving up and down Tualatin Sherwood Road. How many pull-out stops? And are you coordinating that with sort of eventually when they put in water lines and do improvements on Tualatin Sherwood Road, that would be incorporated, those pull-out stops?
So that's a good question. So currently there are not pullouts available for us on Tualatin Sherwood Road. What we do oftentimes in cases where we don't have pullouts, one thing I notice about Tualatin Sherwood Road is there are right turn lanes. And in many cases throughout the metro area, we will pull into a right turn lane, stop, and we'll have a bus stop there. And then there'll be a sign there you might notice that says, right turn only except bus, meaning we can pull back into traffic, whereas everyone else would turn right. So that's something that I expect we're going to probably be looking to use along Tualatin Sherwood Road. But yes, with the widening of Tualatin Sherwood Road, we're going to want to coordinate with the county. I believe it's the county that's doing that, and make sure that we do have safe places to stop, whether they be pullouts or a wider shoulder. We'll have to see what works out best. That said, and bicyclists don't always like to hear this, but there is a bike lane along Tualatin Sherwood Road. And in many cases, there are, at least half the road, there is a center kind of third lane. And so what we do in situations like that is we do pull into the bike lane, and people typically, that gets about 3/4 of the bus or 2/3 of the bus at least completely out of the lane. And then, people can kind of get around us using that center lane. It isn't always the most comfortable, but it is workable, and it seems to, we don't get too many complaints about that. Welcome, thank you.
Council?
I was just going to add, please don't do anything that will add to the congestion on Tualatin Sherwood Road, because it's a huge complaint for every single person in Sherwood. I travel that road all the time, and another, stop behind a bus is a huge deal.
Sure, I hear that, and I've also heard that from the folks in Tualatin.
And hopefully putting a bus on there gets rid of
Some of the cars.
119 cars.
That's
A bus can carry 52 people, so hopefully we'll fill it up and get 52 cars off the road.
That would be great.
anyone else? Any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Tom, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, citizen comments. I have one from Tim Voorhees. Come on up.
Tim Voorhees, Steel Tech Industries, P.O. Box 908. I have multiple things to talk about. I signed up for the email blast, and it's great. Question for the mayor: when do you get your packets out to you? 7 days prior to any meetings? Okay, they're ready, correct?
Mhm.
The email blast goes out Friday night after hours. That gives you 1 day, working day, to look at the packets. Shouldn't the citizens have the same respect as the council members to be able to look at it for 7 days prior to any meeting? I would like to see it go out 7 days prior. If it can't go out 7 days prior, then any portion of it should be taken off of the next agenda. It should be fair for the citizens. Number 2, design for the outcome the city staff wants. Okay? I'm on the email blast. I got the one about chickens. You have 5,000 square foot lots. In there, you have 10,000 square foot lots. But we have many lots that are under 5,000 square feet. But let's just take the 5,000 square foot lot. You have to keep your coop 10 feet from the property line or 25 feet from your neighbor's house or structure, as it says in there. Okay, so if you do your math and swing your arcs, the only place for the coop is dead center about 6 to 7 feet off your back door. The staff is designing it, in my opinion, so nobody will want to put them in. If they're doing that, good for them. Bad for the citizens that want a few fresh eggs and stuff like that. I really don't care one way or the other, but the staff, from what I've heard, really don't want to deal with it. I don't blame them because they are messy. But we have troubles with that, but they're designing it for failure. They're designing it so nobody can put a coop in except dead center in their backyard. And a lot of the people wouldn't be able to put them in because they don't have a 4,000 square foot lot. Okay. Now on to number 3, because I'm on the email blast. Sunset paving project out there. In the bid documents, it said 2 layer levels in there and stuff, and it has 2 half-inch layers when ODOT regulations and stuff. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think so. I called up and double-checked. The first base coat is supposed to be 3/4 inch, and then the top traction coat is supposed to be half-inch rock. Okay? But I hope you give me more time on this. What's even more concerning is they were doing a irrigation pipe fix out on Sunset Boulevard. They had to knock out the curb to gain access to the irrigation pipe. Well, what they exposed behind it was a massive batch of roots that were bound up against the curb. So my thing is are we wasting our money repaving Sunset because it's going to fail here in a couple of years? Right now, you can see the sidewalks buckling. You can see the curbs buckling going up and down Sunset. We're spending a lot of money out there, and we're cutting the asphalt away from the curb. Well, that's going to relieve the tension on the curb. Is it gonna slip a little bit and give them a little bit more room to grow? Is it gonna allow it to buckle a little bit more? There's a lot of things in there. Should we not just cut them all down and get the right trees in there? They'll grow back. I'm sure it's a beautiful street right now, but we're wasting how many thousands of dollars right now, and it's doomed for failure because I think the streets are gonna buckle. So those are the things I am very concerned about, but I would really like the email blast to go out with your packets.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Could
Oh,
we,
thank you for all of the hard work every one of you guys put in, because I know how much time I take to put in, and I'm just skim reading these things. Thank you very much for your time.
thank you, Tim. Thanks for coming today. So I just have a couple of questions. So when are packets, because I approve the packets to be posted 7 days in advance, since they are electronic, could we send the email blast at that point? Is that something that's arduous, or since they're already approved, to ready to go?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand what the email blast is, so.
Oh, okay.
Planning Commission.
No,
Could you clarify
Tim-
that? Because I don't know what you mean, because I don't get an email blast.
We were able to sign up for
I
an
get
email
that.
blast on all city council meetings.
Do you know what he's talking about?
And all agendas and everything. It's great. I mean, it goes out to everybody that signs up for it. Only problem is there's no time to look at it.
Okay, so you signed up through the city for the email blast? Okay. So
Had to sign up many times because they really didn't want you on it.
so Mayor, what I would suggest, we can get a hold of Tim, and IT is part of this in terms of communicating.
Okay, and just,
see if we
it
can
sounds to me
figure
like
out-
it just requires an IT syncing,
Yeah.
because the materials are there, they're ready to go. It's
Yep.
not a matter of not having them. I mean, I think it's just a matter of getting that
Yep.
thing synced. So if
So
if
let me
we
work
could-
with Brad, and
Thank you.
we'll get in touch with Tim to find out,
Thank
so
you.
we're addressing
Would
what
I-
his concern is, so.
Okay,
And can I just address
well, let me ask one. Oh, well, go ahead. You go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify for you, Tim, and staff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that our Public Works Director, Craig Sheldon, he goes and rates the roads. And I believe that the one reason why there's a difference in the lifts that they're putting on the road is because those roads are still within that useful life that's been counted. You know, you have to go through a rating system, and they're still well within their useful life. But what he's doing, the Public Works Department is doing, is really doing some minor work to extend their life a little bit beyond that. So I don't know if it's necessarily falls within like that requirement, but we
So
can probably look into
Could
that.
Craig maybe get
Craig-
an answer?
Yeah.
for me?
Craig will,
Okay.
The whole thing is it isn't a patch job out there to extend the life. They've ground it totally out, and they've removed a lot of the base rock, and they're putting it back in. They're
So,
replacing it totally.
If Craig could get an answer.
Yes.
For us as well as for Tim, and also address the rising
Yes.
issue, because I know that in a lot of neighborhoods, that is an absolute problem.
Yep.
And so maybe we can just talk about that.
Yep.
And just have a discussion before we spend lots and lots of money repaving. Thank you, Tim, for bringing it forward.
Yep.
So thank you.
we'll definitely follow up, and
Awesome.
include the council on the follow-up, so.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, and I was just going to say, as I have been known the chicken counselor, I was going to bring up the 25 feet thing. It doesn't make sense the way that they have done that. I totally agree with you.
And so on that, rather than starting a conversation,
Yeah,
right
I'll-
now, could, when we are, because it's not brought forward to us at this point, when it is brought forward to us, could we have several options?
Yeah, that would be one of my talking
Instead of
points when I bring
saying,
it.
this is what we've come up with, say, here's a couple different options.
Well,
and
yeah,
then-
and my thought would be just either to throw it back at them, or I was going to have separate options. So
And then we can discuss each option as a council, and
I just wanted
citizens
you to
can
know it's
comment
on my
that.
radar.
Well, call me.
Awesome.
And that will probably be worked out at the planning commission
Okay,
level.
perfect.
So by the time you get it, hopefully it will be a viable alternative that will work,
Okay,
so.
So
Okay.
please come to the planning commission.
okay.
Tim.
And we've got our planning commission liaison.
Oh,
Okay.
No, it's not through planning.
No, it's next week.
Yeah, I don't honestly know when it's scheduled. There is a public hearing, and so comments would be welcome on that, so.
I believe I just got the planning commission packet, and it does say chickens in there. So
It
next Tuesday.
So next Tuesday. Be there.
Actually, not next Tuesday.
I was
It's
gonna say it's
2 after that.
Yeah.
2 Tuesdays after that.
fantastic. Okay. Thank you for bringing that forward. And thank you, Jennifer, for making more clarity on that question. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Eugene Stewart.
Eugene Stewart, property owner in Sherwood. I do work on the Sherwood Seniors Steering Committee for Meals on Wheels. One of the things that has come to my attention is that Meals on Wheels is now reviewing all their sites in Washington County on what they're going to keep and what they potentially will eliminate. And would like to mention, I did see a thing where we may have a 2 or 3 year contract with them, but within that contract, either side may terminate it within 30 days. And it's hard for me to see how they're going to justify continuing the large deficit that they are incurring in Sherwood. And so I think it's not unreasonable to expect them to eliminate at least one position to where the cook will, our kitchen coordinator will be the only person at the Sherwood Senior Center. Then the rest of the programming will be dropped onto volunteers or some staff member from the city of Sherwood, and I think we need to plan ahead. It is interesting, Teresa came up with a document in 1979. The council was talking about transportation for citizens, and we're still talking. Hopefully we can resolve something. Also, with the building, you need to plug in down the road any other further expansion that happens on that building. The fire marshal will require you to put in sprinklers. Not a cheap thing to do. In fact, from what Teresa was saying, the fire marshal really was trying to get it the last time she inspected the building. And she took it all the way up to her boss, and they finally decided that your grandfather in there, as long as you don't change anything, she can't do anything. So please be aware of that. And it would be nice if you would have some work sessions on where's the senior center going? What can we do to keep it going? And we need some planning and direction. Right now, you've got 3 or 4 different organizations kind of going different directions, and we just need to, the city needs to say, this is where we're going. Give us a direction. You've got plenty of volunteers up there to help you out, and they do a wonderful job. There's a lot of services they do, anywhere from free income tax returns, cutting toenails. If you really went through all the things that go on up there, in fact, I think the volunteer hours are even greater than what you have in the library. You've got 4 or 5 people that probably volunteer at least 20 hours a week up there, if not more. And they do it they just do it because they know it needs to be done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. Okay, I think that's all of council comments or the citizen comments I have. City manager report?
I have a couple items, but I have a feeling maybe some counselors might want to talk about it, so I won't steal their thunder.
Okay,
And look-
I'll
So I don't have anything.
you can reserve your right if
Yes.
if something's not said to
Exactly.
jump in there. Well, I would, so our next on our agenda, thank you, Joe, is council announcements. I'd actually like to piggyback on what Eugene said, and I wanted to kind of open up a discussion about, we've been, talking a lot about how are we going to be handling our recreation in the city of Sherwood. And the senior center is part of our recreation, or should be. And we kind of have recreation sort of in pieces, and a lot of council has talked to Tom Pesmer. He's been working very hard on coming together with a plan. In 2008, council had a council retreat, and one of the goals was setting a plan for what are we going to do with our recreation, and that would include our senior center, our field house, our rec center as operated by the YMCA, and now our art center. So we've added to our recreation without really having a viable plan. And I think that we need to formulate a plan with some options in place on the future of our recreation. And so I would like to give direction to staff to move forward with that and to bring us back some options so that we can discuss moving forward how we are going to organize our recreation in the city of Sherwood. Is council agreeable to that?
Well, I have just a couple of things. What I would like to do first is to actually have some work sessions to really talk about what, about the senior center. What does that provide now? What is the building like itself? What kind of services does it provide? What our vision, we kind of know what the vision is for this Center for the Arts, but for the YMCA, for recreational fields, and just have some work sessions to talk about it. I would really like to see that.
And
even in the summertime.
I think that's the plan, Tom, as we were
Have some
discussing
work.
it, is to give direction for him to come back with, some organizational ideas
Mhm.
as to how we deal with this kind of bigger idea that it's kind of gone off into different directions, and we need to pin it down into this is how we handle our recreation in the city of
Well,
Sherwood.
And I would agree because as a parent who has kids who are just starting to get into what I thought were city sports,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yes.
finding are willy-nilly, crazy run, no organization sports, it would be really great if those were maybe more organized under one organization. Something maybe with the field house or however that would work with what we could do. And I agree with Jen. I'm not super familiar with the senior center and all of the things that it does for us. Other than when Eugene comes and shares with us, I learn something new each time.
Right.
So I would love some work sessions
Uh-huh.
on each of the different areas and what they bring to our city and how they are valued and
And the options available.
yeah, and how we can utilize those best within our city and best fit our.
Well, I'll just jump in here, and Joe can certainly jump in as well. I mean, it sounds to me like what I'm hearing from you is you would like us to do a lot of research and start talking about what the different recreation opportunities and existing facilities and programs that we have to kind of educate, and then start to think through potentially, what that might look like for different options to move forward. I can say that when you're starting to talk about recreation, that's a big topic. I know Tiger just spent a significant amount of money doing a study with a lot of community involvement and engagement relative to what does recreation mean for Tigard and how do they, potentially want to move forward. And that's moving in a bunch of different directions. But they do have a good study, which they spent probably a fair amount of time and potentially some money on. So, before we go to that level, I think it's good to start having that conversation about which direction we want to go so that you can start making some decisions about how staff can inform you, because it won't be just me. It'll also be, Kristen in Community Services and Craig in Public Works and Joe and a lot of different people working together to try to put our arms around what does recreation mean for Sherwood and which strategic direction do you guys kind of want to move in. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
It is, and I think what I'd like to see, because I don't want this to turn into the 2008, okay, we want to talk about okay, that's not going to work for me. So how about you go through this process of, what are the options, what's out there, what are our different opportunities in these areas to handle recreation, and come back to us by September 1st. Does that sound?
Well, and in the
reasonable?
meantime, we could do the work sessions to talk about each entity and how they are.
Exactly. I'd like to see us.
Feedback, would that be helpful, or would it be more helpful to
No,
have a
I think,
presentation?
no, I
Okay.
definitely think in education, informing, and having a dialogue back and forth would be extremely
Yes.
helpful. If you want to pick a strategic direction in September, which I think is what I heard you say your goal is, you'd like to
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
pursue
that
one
works.
particular path by that point in time, then
have-
then there needs to be definitely some conversation going on, not only with council, but probably also with the community in
Yes,
general.
and
So
understanding what our resources are, where are our resources
Right.
now, and what do they represent? Understanding what we've got now before we start looking at all the other options. I really need to understand.
What Mayor Clark said, I think September 1st would be, here are,
That's
4
July.
different opportunities
Right.
that we can look at.
Yep.
But then between then, here's the senior center and here's a presentation about everything they do and the benefit they bring to our community, the cost that we put into that, how much we're paying for it, that kind of thing. Here's the YMCA, same thing. Here's the field house, what we're paying for that and how it's benefiting. We kind of pretty familiar with the
Right.
art center at this point, but
But I think that that would help to really bring clarity to
Yes.
what we're looking at, because it just feels like there's all these balls up in the air and there needs to be clarity. I remember when we were looking at our parks and how, you had brought forward that, well, oh my gosh, we need, $50,000 to repair this park because it's fallen down. And oh, by the way, several of the other parks are going to be on that trail really soon. And council said, what, wait, what? And said, wait a minute, we need to have a forecasting plan of the depreciation schedule for our parks. And Craig came up with an awesome plan that has been helpful not only to that council, but for this council. And so when you talk about things and have a plan in place, it's so much easier going forward. And so I don't want it to be lost as it was in 2008. I want it to be something that we're looking at and moving forward with, so that when 2000 whatever comes, that we have, here's our forecast, look at our plan. And so then I think that would be tremendously helpful moving forward.
I would just like to applaud the entire idea, because I think that when we moved to Sherwood, it was we were drawn in by the visible recreation facilities that exist here, the fabulous parks. But then when, as a new resident, I started to try, and I had a 3-year-old at the time, so I wanted programming. We were coming from being very active participants in McMinnville and Newburgh, and to find that it's all very disjointed and it's very difficult to access for a lot of folks. And so I think that it'd be great to have a more cohesive plan in place and communication, because there are a lot of resources available. It's just, it's like finding needles in haystacks, and we're not necessarily using our resources to their best ability. If you look at the volume of programming in areas like Tualatin or even Newburgh, I mean, Newburgh is far in excess of the types of programming that we're able to offer currently. So it'd be great to see a more cohesive plan.
Do you have enough direction there, sir?
yes, I do. Obviously recreation has been a conversation not only in 2008, but I know it came up in 2012. And so it's very helpful for us to hear what you guys really want us to be focusing our attention on. So Joe, do you have any other thoughts or comments? Or?
No, I think this is a timely discussion, and it's a discussion that's going on in our adjacent communities in different ways. I mean, Tiger's going through this right now. Wilsonville just went through a big study to build a recreational center that they lack. They do not have a pool. They've got the challenge of who's going to operate it and who's going to pay for it. Tualatin doesn't have much. Ton did do kind of a quick analysis, and everyone does things very differently. We have facilities that a lot of our larger communities do not have. I think we don't have that programming aspect like a City of Hillsborough, who has a full-blown Park and Rec department, and THPRD, which has been doing this for 50 years. We don't have that, and I think some citizens would like that. So how do we get there, and how do we do a better job versus trying to find out, okay, this is that youth sport over here for lacrosse, and I go over there, and the youth sports do a good job, but it is very disjointed.
Yeah.
It is extremely disjointed, and if you're new to the area and you don't have a network and you don't know where to turn, it's really hard to figure things out. So I think this is certainly an area that we can focus on if the council wants us to.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
you.
I
you.
think this would be highly appreciated, and so thank you for that. And thank you, Jean, for continuing on us about the senior center, for kicking it off. I highly appreciate it, and it's very timely. So, Councilor King, do you have anything to add?
Mayor, no, I don't.
You do not. Councilor Harris.
So the library is kicking off their summer reading program. Well, they did kick it off. June 1st is the start date. They have tons of great prizes, and Bullwinkle's, Tualatin Hills Park and Rec Trailblazers, Oaks Park, they are all sponsors and have given fabulous prizes for people and kids who complete their program. They have programs for all age groups, so toddlers up to adults can participate in their program. It's Every Hero Has a Story. I highly recommend you participate in that, and if you have children, get them going in it. The summertime is a difficult time to keep kids engaged in their schoolwork and reading, and this is a great way to do it here at the library. I also wanted to highlight, excuse me, their cultural pass at the library. A lot of families look for inexpensive activities to do during the summer. The library has cultural passes, so you can check those out and go to Pittock Mansion, Chinese Garden, Oregon Garden, the A.C. Gilbert Museum in Salem, which is probably one of the best children's museums I've ever been to. The Museum of Rock and Mineral, if that's interesting to you. All kinds of different museums, and you can go for free. So that is a huge savings for families and a great resource that you can get from our library. You get them in the morning, drop them off in the evening. You can pick them up at many different libraries. So if Sherwood happens to be out of theirs, you can pick it up on the way in Tualatin or in Tigard and drop them off, but return them because they're like $10 a day if you don't. I know. Oh. And don't do it over a weekend because that's even worse. So, speak from experience. Cultural arts, we had a meeting, and cultural arts is a really fun place to be right now in Sherwood. They're talking a lot about the role of the Cultural Arts Commission and how that works. It was originally established to help open the Arts Center. Well, it's open, so where do we go from here? Talking a lot about being an arts center versus a rental facility, and how do we, as a committee, how do we run that and create an environment where Sherwood is a center for arts and not just a rental facility location. Things like having an art walk and annual events and weekly events and monthly events, and really being sort of the center of arts and kicking that off, which goes nicely with the rec communication and activity. So that is an ongoing conversation with that group right now. Also, the Missoula Children's Theater is set. They'll be here June 22nd through the 27th, as well as August 10th through the 15th. At the time of the meeting, this may have been filled, but they needed one more host family. So if anybody's interested in hosting for a week, then please let us know. They are doing Rapunzel and Jungle Book this year. The next gallery showing opens June 9th. This is for student art. It's pretty exciting. They're having refreshments and entertainment on June 9th. I encourage everybody to go and check that out. Student art is fun. They are so much more creative sometimes than we are as adults because we get our minds clouded with adult thinking. Maggie talked about some of the grants that they're pursuing. Some of those for things like a stage, removable stage that they can offer to people who are renting the facility, as well as things like a piano. So we have an in-house piano. Right now, anybody who rents it and wants a piano needs to rent the piano as well. Our website and Facebook page have both launched to great success. We also have a couple of vacancies on the commission. So again, this is a super exciting time to be in the arts area in Sherwood. There were a couple names thrown out that they're going to pursue to try to encourage them to join the commission. And we have started our gala planning. So the gala is slated for October. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Council President Robinson?
Yes, I have a lot. In addition to the 3 wonderful budget meetings we had that lasted at least 3 hours each time, in which many of us fully participated in, I attended the Sherwood West Citizen Advisory Committee on May 21st. We had about 10 actual homeowners show up to help creatively think of options and look at what's important to them. In addition to all the work that's already been done, with the outreach of our planning commission or planning department going out and actually talking to 60 plus homeowners in the areas to look at options. It was really fun. They even had Connie Randall even had her child out there helping, for children. What's your vision? How do you see your neighborhood? It was kind of cool that they were even thinking as little as children making an impact. So that was really good. We're continuing the progress that they're looking into. And on this Thursday, there is another Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. And I'm not sure where that one is located. At the police station at 6:30, correct? I also attended a Memorial Day ceremony and event at Pleasant View Cemetery here in Sherwood. It was actually started by an Eagle Scout in Wilsonville and Wilsonville City Councilor who helped the Eagle Scout along with the local Rotary Club do a fabulous project out there to bring this wonderful plaque of all the veterans who were buried at the cemetery. In addition to the Boy Scout creating these 4-inch medallions in front of every single veteran's grave site and different medallions for different wars that each of them had participated in. And it was by far the most moving event I'd been to. It was just tremendous. And it's in Sherwood. I had not been to that cemetery, but it's out kind of in the woods off Sunset, and really just a wonderful ceremony. I hope that something similar like that could occur with our local Boy Scout troops. I also attended on Saturday the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Awards ceremony on Saturday, and it was also another wonderful opportunity to realize how great our firefighters are that serve our community and the risk that they take in even putting their own lives at stake in coming to our rescue when we need them. They talked about there was a couple really significant events that had occurred last year, and the number of people that we actually have serving in that organization that are at the 15-year mark, the 20-year mark, the 25-year mark, and there was even someone awarded for a 30-year mark with the district, and what a tremendous bunch of people. So fun. And then immediately after that, I went to the Sherwood Community Fair at our local fire station. Of course, my son, Jacob, loves to come to that event and sit in all the fire departments. And what I also found out while I was attending that fair was we have, even within our own station, Station 33, individuals who have been there for a very long period of time because Sherwood is such a sought-after community to be in. And one of those individuals I happened to meet, and he felt so lucky to be a part of this Sherwood community for so long, having that continuous service. Just a reminder, the Altereds Art Festival is this Saturday coming up from 10 to 4 at our Memorial Park. I will be there. Veterans Park, excuse me. And next Tuesday, like I mentioned, there is no Planning Commission meeting. City Council will be having a work session to interview some candidates for our city attorney position. And last but not least, I want to remind every single person out in our audience, staff and council members, as well as people who even just look at us, our friends and people on TV, please go to Bark for Your Park on our city website, and then right below where the pets, it's petsafenet.net, their website, you can click on the Bark for Park on that tab, and then you say where you want to go, you search for Sherwood, Oregon, you click on it and vote, then right underneath your count has been voted. Your vote has been counted, excuse me. It also says you can vote again on Facebook. So if you click on Facebook, it doesn't look like you can click on it, but if you click on Facebook, you can do a second vote for the day.
Each day, right?
Every day.
Every day.
Yep.
And last check I saw when I voted this morning, I think it was 274. So I really encourage everybody to vote every single day, twice for that. So thank you.
Thank you. To vote.
Is your mic on?
Yes, no, it's a go.
I want to clarify that because we got the question from someone, do I have to be a Sherwood resident to vote for Sherwood? And of course, you do not. Friends and family far and wide can vote for Sherwood. So there's
Very
about
good.
9 or 10 days left in the first round, and we need
right.
votes.
Vote, vote, vote. Thank you, Council President. Councilor Kuiper?
So, the mayor said yes to the Rose Festival Parade. The manager said yes to the mayor. And I said yes to the city manager.
Yay!
And what I mean is, the
Delegate.
City, yeah. The city of Sherwood is one of 3 cities that have taken the call to action to join in a mini parade as part of the Rose Festival Parade. Mini
During
float.
The regular parade.
That's correct. But we're in a section. Our section is actually a section of just mini floats or mini things, apparently. But there's only about 3 out of 7 cities that were invited. And City of Sherwood took the challenge, and we are in the process, along with some amazing city staff. A shout out to Michelle Babcock for helping to be my partner in crime in this. We started on Saturday. Actually, the Public Works Department did an amazing job building a replica of the Sherwood Center for the Arts, because the theme for this year's Rose Festival is blooming good time, I think. So the arts are blooming in Sherwood. And if you take a look at whenever the parade will be televised live on Saturday, you will see a float. But the Public Works Department did a great job putting together the structure around a gator and using plywood. And Michelle and I have been out there pretty much every day since Saturday, along with Sylvia. She helped us kick it off. And then we have a team of a lot of folks from Sherwood Foundation of the Arts, and VPA, Voices for the Performing Arts. A lot of friends of mine with their little kids coming out. It's been a really great, and we've got a lot more work to do before Saturday, but we have some teams out there coming in every evening at 5 o'clock. We'll stay till 8 or 9. So instead of going to some of the other meetings this week, you can come back to the Public Works Yard and help us with the float. So that's been very exciting.
I have to give a shout out to Jennifer because she took the bull by the horns. This was my crazy idea, and and gotta love her. But I think that this was just an opportunity that, and Joe also agreed, that we could not pass up to really give a highlight to our Center for the Arts. And this is national television. It will be aired all down the coast, and this is a big opportunity for us to highlight the arts in Sherwood and to get that word out that, oh, there's a Center for the Arts in Sherwood. Oh, well, we should check that out. And Jennifer has done an amazing job of taking a shell and creating something fantastic, a rendering of the Center for the Arts. So I congratulate her on picking up the ball I threw and running with it. So I just thank her so much.
And our own fearless city manager will be driving the thing. So
in the 90-degree heat.
pray for that.
But I must commend the Public Works staff was thinking of me. They said, oh, we probably have to figure out an exhaust system so, the exhaust gets out.
That would be good.
And maybe we should put a fan in here because it's probably going to be really hot. So.
You're off into the public. That'd be
We don't really know how it's going to go. It's
going to be awesome.
This is an adventure. And I think it's important when Public Works put this together, we designed something that can be used in the future, because one of the unique features of this, and I think it's going to grow, I think this is going to be a big success for the Rose Festival, is that it's not just cities that can participate, but festivals or fairs can participate. So I've already kind of talked to the folks at Robin Hood Festival, and I've talked to folks at Cruisin', that there would be opportunities in the future to use the base of our gator and actually,
hang on to it
and promote both of those festivals in future years. On an entire up and down, like you said, Mara, this is broadcast live on all up and down the West Coast, and it's going to be fun.
It will be
a little
fun.
challenging.
It will be fun. And we have some walkers from from the Voices for the Performing Arts from past musicals. So we have, for instance, Waverly Giles, I'm hoping to get. She is actually in Aladdin this summer for the reprise of the production, and she is, what's Aladdin's? Ariel? Jasmine? Who is it? Jasmine.
Princess.
Princess. She's a Disney princess. And we
Princess.
have other Disney princesses that will be walking. So it'll be really fun. And if you get a chance to stop by and see the float, it's really coming along. There's lots of beans and seeds all over it. So
And it's
pretty fun.
another opportunity, shout out Sherwood.
To shout out Sherwood, absolutely. So
And we'll be a few steps behind the Sherwood High School Marching Band.
yes,
So
that's right.
Sherwood will be
Very exciting.
definitely featured prominently in the
It's
in
going to
the
be a lot of
festival.
fun. And our Mixolydians will be there singing, and they're award-winning. They've won first place at the Rose City Sing-Off. They're fantastic, amazing harmonies, a cappella group. They'll be singing at the Rose Festival.
And I'll be
as well.
walking with the mayors.
And
so.
Chris, yes, Mayor Clark will be walking with the mayor, so it'll be really fun. Just one couple of things. The Friends of the Refuge is also having some fun summer camps from 8:30 to 12:30 in the mornings. I think you can go to their website, the Friends of the Refuge, 12th River Refuge, but there's 2 separate camps. A fantastic group of people, these friends, and they just go the extra mile, and I think these camps are going to be absolutely amazing. We didn't have a Parks and Recreation Board meeting. We didn't have a whole lot to discuss because 2 of our big items got approval by the Budget Committee. Obviously, that has to go through the council for approval. But we will have a lot of barking going on in the next few months, aside from barking every day for the Bark for Your Park. But we will be, hopefully, when that gets approved by council, starting on the dog park. And also, Woodhaven Park will finally be built out this year. So at least that's what I hear. So that's a good thing. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Counselor, just to clarify, when you say this year, the dog park will be first at Snyder Park. We'll be doing that construction probably July, August.
Right. And then
Phase
the-
2, the work at Woodhaven is likely to take place next spring,
Yes.
which is this upcoming fiscal year, but it will
Right.
probably bid in the fall and then construction in the spring.
Yes. So construction work, they'll have the construction plans, I think, in the fall and then start work in the spring. So.
But thank you, we are moving
Yeah.
forward.
We are
Correct.
moving forward.
Correct.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
So I don't have much, but I would like to recommend the Friends of the Refuge camps. My daughter participated last summer. It is a fantastic program. So, and it's very, very well run. It was one of the highlights of her summer last year. So I hope the folks will participate. I also wanted to put a shout out to all our Sherwood Middle School students who took off for outdoor school today. Another wonderful opportunity for kids within our community to experience nature. So I know that they're split between 2 different camps, one at Rockaway and one in Vernonia. So best wishes to everybody out there who's participating in that process.
Thank you, Counselor Henderson.
I'll attempt to be brief. On May 21st, the Police Advisory Board met for 3 hours and 15 minutes. It was a very productive meeting with a lot of great information exchanged. The chief is nodding, I guess he was nodding with me. Basically, the members have a very detailed understanding of how our police department is run and the structure, the philosophy of why we have very low crime rates as a function of, in my opinion, how Chief Groth has set up the department. But for them, it was a lot of asking a lot of good questions. He also had a gentleman from County Insurance Services to come and talk about the Best Practices award that the police department recently received. And so they had an opportunity to talk to him about what that means and how other municipalities fare in relationship to our police department. And this is obviously a brand new board, and so steep learning curve to a certain extent, but a couple of the members have already done their ride-alongs, and I think that's extremely positive. Their commitment is not just on paper, obviously. One of the ride-alongs that a member went on netted a DUI, so she actually stayed with the officer through the entire process, and which was at times entertaining, and watched as Washington County came down to pick up this individual and how they read him his rights, and he had the opportunity to deny the breathalyzer. So it was a process she'd never seen before. So big eye opener. But what the committee members are doing right now is going out into the community and talking to their friends, their neighbors, their parents at other schools, parents who participate in sports, and talking about their perception and experiences with the police department, and sort of getting an idea, I guess an informal survey about what they currently know about the department, what they think contributes to the reason we have low crime, and where some ideas about where they'd like to go. And that is the information that Jeff and his department is hoping to get. It's going to take some time, obviously, but they were very enthusiastic to go out and talk to people about the police department and get some feedback for not only themselves, but also for the committee, and then talk about where they're going in the future about policing, not unlike the recreation concept or strategic plan. This is for the police department. I, for one, would like to see a strategic plan for the entire city, and not necessarily done department by department, but that's a huge undertaking, and we've talked about that for a number of years, and I'm not sure.
It's in the budget, assuming that council approves it, and it's going to get done next fiscal year. So, assuming you guys approve it, we're going to have our first strategic plan for the organization done, because we're tired of talking about it. So.
The Senior Center Meals on Wheels, as Jean spoke, they are going through what I would consider to be an analysis phase. They have a new CEO and a COO, and they're taking a look at all the centers and basically whether or not they can continue to fund centers at the rate they're at, or any rate in the future. The steering committee is excitingly planning a fundraiser that's going to be a beer festival, which I don't think we've ever had in Sherwood before. They have a local vendor who is interested in making that happen, and people from all over Oregon and even out of state are interested in coming, and that would be a partnership between the festival and the senior center, and the center would be the recipient of a portion of the funds, obviously, and that would be an annual event, just like Cruisin' or Robin Hood. So a little bit overwhelming, I think, for the seniors who serve on that committee, but they're excited about it, and I also said yes, if you know what I mean. And the art festival, which Councilor Robinson mentioned, is this weekend at Veterans Park. We had 38 vendors signed up at our last meeting. I think the first year we had 18, so it continues to grow every year. And Shelley Lamb is the person who makes that happen. And obviously, Cruisin' Sherwood is next Saturday, the 13th. And I was just checking the weather, because everybody is very weather conscious. And it looks like it's supposed to be about 70 degrees. So initially they were threatened rain, but I guess we'll scoot by without getting rained on. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Councilor Harris forgot something?
I would be remiss if I didn't mention the library levy.
Oh,
So-
yes. Thank you.
The library levy was unanimously approved to go on the ballot. So in November, you'll see a levy for 22 cents per $1,000. And that is about 20% of our library, Sherwood Library's operating fund. And it's super. Huh? What?
I'm sorry, the mayor and
Go
I
ahead.
are
Yeah,
doing
sorry.
hand signals here.
Yeah.
I think we both want to say the same thing after you're done about
Go ahead.
that. So.
Okay. And that 20% will, if not passed, will really impact.
So what Counselor, you can't hear you because your mic's not on, but what Counselor Henderson has said is that she believes that the money that is taxed to our residents goes to us. Is that correct or incorrect?
No, it's not 100%, and it's not 20%. It's significant. It's more
Huge
around.
impact on the budget
It's a huge
regardless.
impact, and what I was going to suggest is what you were supposed to have tonight, but you had so many presentations that we moved it to July 7th. Both, there are two levies that are going to be on the ballot in the fall. One is the library levy, and one is a public safety levy. So at that point, we will have excellent information in terms of how much of, if that levy fails, what does that mean for our library in addition to the county-wide system?
Right.
So we'll have those specifics for you on the 7th of July.
And so we'll get the stats to everybody on what the numbers are.
Yes.
But what's important is to highlight what you did, and that's that it's coming. We need to start talking about it.
Exactly.
And, so thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
So
So apparently the information that I was given is incorrect, so I'm going to just say there's a levy coming. There you
Yes.
go.
thank you. So I just wanted to give kind of a recap of what has been going on since our last meeting, and I'll try to be brief. On May 8th, I went to the Nike campus. I was very fortunate. Thank you to our Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici, who gave me a front row ticket to meet our president, President Obama. And he came to speak at Nike on the trade protection agreement. And you probably already either knew about that from Facebook or read it in the Gazette, because I posted my photo to Ray. But it was a very, very neat opportunity to hear our president speak, to actually shake his hand. And as I said to Ray, no matter what side of the political fence you sit on, it is an honor to be able to meet and shake the president of the United States' hand. So I was very, very thankful to Congresswoman Bonamici for that opportunity. On May 9th, we had another cash mob. Watch for those every month. This time it was at Creative Sister, and it was right before Mother's Day. And so there was a stream of people looking for that unique Mother's Day gift, which was awesome. And it was a huge success, so that was a lot of fun. On May 15th, I got to go to invitation-only TriMet Orange Line preview ride. And so Governor Brown and Senator Merkley came, as well as a lot of other electeds, lots of mayors, lots of county commissioners from both the east and the west counties. And it was fantastic. We started at Portland State University and went across the river to Milwaukee. And it was a beautiful ride. It was really fantastic. And Governor Kate talked a lot about how this is a project that has been long anticipated and waited for. And I think that it will gain a lot of accessibility for people who want to attend Portland State and to work downtown that might not have had the transportation to do so in the past. And so it was an honor to be able to ride that ride. It was very fun. On May 16th, I got, thank you, Jennifer Harris, for bringing him back, to go to Mr. Wiener's speech. It was fantastic. He came a second time to the Sherwood Center for the Arts to speak about the Holocaust, and it was an honor to get to hear him. So that was really great. On May 28th, I just attended the One Tree for All celebration. Chair Andy Dyke. This was the kind of the wrap-up celebration for the year. Chair Andy Dyke spoke. There were lots of other electeds there, but what was great about this presentation, it was over at the Jackson Bottoms Wetland Preserve in Hillsborough, which is phenomenal. If you haven't been there, if you've driven the back roads to Hillsborough and just said, oh, and looked at that, as I have a million times, and never actually pull in. It is phenomenal. It is just amazing and beautiful. And so we had the event there, but what was wonderful and telling was this program was put together to plant 1 million trees this year. They planted over 2 million trees in this project. So it was a major success this year, and it continues to be a success, Clean Water Service Program. And Kirsten joined me from staff because she is the one who sets the plantings up. I've been to multiple plantings here in Sherwood, second and third plantings in some cases at Woodhaven and some other locations have, to the great delight and glee of my children, hit salamanders and all kinds of creepy crawlies. So this is an event, if you've not been, I've been in the dead of cold, wearing the mittens and the hat. And also when it is sunny, they do it all year round at different locations for different types of trees and also low growing shrubbery depending on the time of year that you're supposed to plant them. And it is a hoot. The other thing that is fun about it is because they move the plantings around in the different communities, it gives an opportunity for those invested communities to join in. When we did the planting over at Sherwood View Estates, a lot of the residents at Sherwood View Estates joined in. They'd never been to a planting before. But people also come from all over to join our plantings, that Boy Scout troops that want a badge, and all kinds of great chances. So if you want to check out our website, we post our planting times. Please come. It's amazing. And bring the kids. They obviously thought the salamanders were hysterical. So yes, I highly recommend it. So that's all I have for right now. But I like I said, I'll be walking with the mayors in the Rose Festival. So I am sad that I will be missing the Altered Arts Festival this year. Darn the luck, because I love that every year. So go for me. Council President Robinson is going to be there in my stead, and have a great time. And I will try not to absolutely melt in the 90-degree heat. It's going to be smoking hot. So I'm, as a blonde, very light, fair person, I'm going to gut that one out. So thank you very much. And I believe that it is time to adjourn to our URA. We are adjourned to URA.